Hello guys, welcome to my video, and I'm going to discuss two things today on religion. And I'm really responding to claims in these videos that I'm making. As you probably are aware, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, and I'm responding to claims. I'm not on some big mission to find the truth. I mean, I'm 57 years old, and I've had my own, shall we say, spiritual journey over the years. And I've been an atheist since I was 15 years old. So I'm responding to claims, which I find interesting. I'm interested in why and in what people believe and why. So the two topics I want to discuss today, one is Pascal's wager, and the other one is I prayed and I got better, and so I believe in God. So I want to discuss those two things, and I'm going to try and stay focused. Try not to get digressed. Try not to digress because it's so easy. So first of all, Pascal's wager. Excuse me. Pascal's wager. So Pascal was a French mathematician and philosopher, and he argued that belief in God was a good bet, essentially. And I can see that point of view because an atheist position, if there is a God, we're going to lose. We're going to lose because when we go into the afterlife, God will say, "You never believed in me, so sorry. Go through that door." And you walk through the door into the flames of hell for all eternity. If there is no God for an atheist, we'll just simply go out of existence anyway. But we stand to win nothing. We've placed, I suppose you could say that we've placed a bet on a horse that can't possibly win. It's not going to bring us anything, and for that reason, it's a dumb bet. It's a much cleverer bet to back a horse that could win, knowing that it could win. Atheists are backing a horse that isn't going to even get out of the go beyond the starting line. He's got no chance of winning. Whereas if you believe in God, you're backing a horse that could win. In other words, if there is a God and you've backed theism, you've backed belief in God, in theory, you're in a better position, because if there is no God, well, you'll just simply go out of existence and you'll get what the atheist is going to get, nothing. So you'll lose, but you could win, because if there is a God and you go into the afterlife having believed, in theory, you'll spend the rest of your life in heaven. So it looks like a theist position is actually a smart choice. It's a cunning, smart, calculated choice to believe in God. The only problem is that if you hold a belief in God, which is a calculation on the basis that you're backing a horse that could win, when you get to the afterlife, God will see through you. I assume he's all-knowing. He knows why you believe in him, why you did believe in him, and he will say, well, you never really believed in your heart, did you? You took Pascal's wager. You thought you were being clever. So I'm sorry, but you can go with the atheists into hell. So I don't really see that. That kind of false, calculated faith is going to gain you anything. And I think that's something that Pascal missed, which surprises me, really. But I think you can see what the flaw is with Pascal's wager, that if you take belief in God as a calculated risk versus benefit, then it's not going to gain you anything, because God will just see through it. And if there is a God, and he will send you into the flames of hell for not having true belief in your heart. So that's my view on Pascal's wager. And I think in addition to that, I would say it's a better bet to believe in that which has the evidence to support it. And I think that that would be the case, that it's always better to believe in that which is supported by the evidence. And I can't really see, as Bertrand Russell said, I think he was being asked about his views on believers and can it ever be a good thing to believe in God? It could be a useful thing to believe in God. And Russell said, well, it can't possibly be useful to believe in something which is false. That's a topic for another video, which I will certainly come back to that, because I think it's quite an interesting it's quite an interesting avenue to explore. But moving on, people who say, you say to people, why do you believe in God? And essentially, a lot of people are believing in God because, for example, they prayed and they got better. So I've heard lots of stories online, people who were ill, they prayed, and then their illness went away. And they're saying that, and now they believe in God. Or I didn't believe in God, I had an illness, and I prayed, and I said, God, if you're real, make me better. I got better. And so now I believe in God. Well, my response to that is that you have two events. One is you got better. The other one is you prayed. You've connected the two. And now you've adopted a new worldview. You now believe in God. If you take 1 million people, all suffering from various illnesses, all praying, some will get better. Illnesses do clear up. Illnesses do go away. And out of 1 million people who are all praying to get better, let's say 1,000 of those people over the course of a year will get better. Their illness will just clear up, or maybe the medication they were taking will finally start to work. Who knows what the reason is? Illnesses do clear up. I've had illnesses myself which have just spontaneously disappeared. And really, that's all that's happening, in my opinion. And out of 1 million people, 1,000 will think that God cured them. And the other 999,000 will just keep praying. So I don't believe you've got any real kind of evidence there. You've just got two unconnected events, and you're just fortunate. I'm happy for you that your illness has cleared up, but I don't think you've got good reason for believing that God did it. I can see why you would think that, but then you'll have to explain why the other 999,000 who are praying every night didn't get better. You'll also have to explain why there are children's cancer wards. Children are dying and suffering leukemia. They've had their heads shaved. They're having chemotherapy. They're having painful radiotherapy. And a lot of them are not getting better. A lot of them are just dying. And their parents are crying their eyes out at home, praying every night to God, praying for mercy for their child that hasn't done any wrong. And so if you're going to tell me that you prayed and your illness went away, maybe you'll explain to me why God heard your prayer, but the vast majority of those who are praying to get better are just ignored. So I don't believe you've got a good reason there for your belief in God, if that is your reason. And by Christian standards, actually, it's not really that good a reason, because the whole point about faith is that you have faith because you haven't got evidence. Well, you think you'll have evidence if you pray and then you get better. You think, okay, well, now I believe in God because I've seen the evidence. But in the pecking order, the Christians who believe in their heart without evidence are much higher up than those who believe because they prayed and they got better. If you read the New Testament and look at what Jesus said about believing in Him and everything, or believing not having seen is actually a higher state of faith than believing with some kind of evidence. If you think you've got evidence because you've prayed and you've got better, you're lower down. Your faith is a much lower level than people who, for example, read the Bible and they discover faith not through evidence, but through being inspired by, for example, the words of Jesus. They're much higher up than you are for believing that, particularly as a lot of Christians have told me that they didn't believe and they said, God, if you're real, cure me. Can't you see that that is a much lower kind of faith than you're so egotistical that you won't believe in God unless he cures you? Can't you see how selfish that is? I mean, I'm an atheist, but I understand Christianity a lot better than a lot of you Christians do. The highest state of faith is that without any evidence whatsoever. It's been said with faith that it comes to you. You don't go to faith. It comes to you. In other words, God touches you. And you believe without evidence. You're inspired. And you've got this faith which hasn't got any evidence to back it up. That is the highest standard of faith. And if there's an afterlife and you get to heaven, you'll be sitting on the highest cloud. Whereas those who only believed because they thought God made them better, when there are children in cancer wards dying in agony, that kind of egotistical, selfish faith, where do you think that's going to get you? What do you think God's going to think of that? Well, you only believed in me because, your headache happened to clear up. You weren't looking around the world and seeing all the suffering that was going on. You were just so focused on your own suffering. And you were praying for yourself. You weren't praying for anybody else. I don't think I'm going to send you up there. I think I'll send you down there with the rest, with the atheists. At least they were honest in their beliefs, and at least they didn't have, they weren't so egotistical that they thought that the whole, they, out of all people, should have their illness cured in order to find God. So I've talked about Pascal's wager. I've dismissed that. I don't think it's useful. And I've talked about people who say that I believe in God because I prayed and I got better. I've dismissed that. And I've argued that it's a very poor form of faith. I'm not a believer. I've not had faith since I was a child when I started thinking properly about these things. But the people that say that I prayed and got better, sorry, no, it's not. It's a poor faith, and it's not a good reason, and it's no kind of evidence. You've got no kind of evidence for God. So comments below. Don't refer me to other videos or books. Tell me what you think. I want to know what you think. I don't want to know what other people think. And be happy to discuss these things with you. So anyway, thanks for watching and look forward to seeing you again soon.